look out. Here come former SportsCenter anchor Bob Stevens, esteemed basketball coach Rich Basirico, and Hall of Fame sports writer Curry Kirkpatrick. And someone's going under the bus.
Oh, I got a feeling a whole lot of people will be going under the bus.
I can't hear.
Our show is over. Coach, we can hear you, even if you can't hear us. We'll get to some of the excitement of the week. It has been a wild one. Let us start. I'm going to throw somebody under the bus to begin with. First of all, I will throw myself under for only making it through about 6 innings last night. I had to get up early this morning. If I'd have just stayed up, I'd have made it to my early morning appointment, and the game would have just ended. That's how wacky it was.
We're going to bring Rich back in here.
Those of us here in the East, we'll bring Rich back in
but
as we get him back. There you go, Coach. You with us?
Can you hear Rich?
Yeah, I couldn't hear anything before. Now I can.
You have missed nothing except me throwing myself under the bus. Only making it through about 6 innings.
We're doing this on a Tuesday. We're doing this on a Tuesday night just before Game 4. And I think a lot of America was exhausted last night. I made it through all 18, so I got to bed about 3 a.m. East Coast time. It was one of the epic. I didn't get tired watching the game. It was such an epic sporting event for me. It had a lot of 0 innings on that scoreboard, but so much went on during those innings, even the 0-run innings, that it just kept me on the edge of the seat. It was such great drama.
It was. Well, Toronto left 19 runners on base, Curry, that they couldn't push one across. But the Dodgers made some great plays, right? At home.
Well, I think the Dodgers had that many also. I think the Dodgers left that many on base also. But
I think they left 18. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
One of the great. When did the inning that, and I don't remember when it was long before the end, but one of the great dramatic moments of the evening was when Clayton Kershaw came in, the bases loaded and 2 outs on a 3-2 pitch, and the guy swung at ball 4 and dribbled it to the second baseman, who barely made the play then.
Yeah,
and they shot to Kershaw's wife, and who was sitting with the manager's wife also. I mean, Kershaw was so relieved to get out of that thing, but one batter, they kept saying, might be the last batter he ever pitched to.
That's true.
He probably better be ready to pitch tonight, because they're going to need
maybe
a whole lot of help behind Ohtani.
That's for sure. Well, it was good to see. It was good to see him. He's a great pitcher, great professional, Hall of Famer. It's good to see him get that out. I was pulling for him. I didn't want him to get a hit.
I've got one guy to throw under the bus for last night, and that's the Toronto manager. Because in the 7th inning, after he learned his lesson and he walked Ohtani 5 straight times,
right,
but he should have walked him 6.
Right. Well, Bob, you're so right. I was going to bring it up too. You're so right. I mean, Ohtani was 3 for 3. He already had a home run and 2 doubles. Mookie Betts was up next, who was 0 for 3 on the night. There was nobody on base. Why would you not walk him there? They were winning. They were winning, right, going to the bottom of the 7th. Yeah. Why would you not walk them?
They were up by the run. Yeah, up by a run.
That's right. Yeah.
Mookie Betts must have been like 0 for 14 or something. I mean, they walked Ohtani 4 times deliberate, 4 times intentional.
Right.
And here comes Mookie Betts up. Here comes Mookie Betts after him, and he does nothing. He did nothing all game. I mean, that was one of the weird games for him.
Well, people always say, well, Ohtani, why you walk Ohtani? You got Mookie Betts and all Friedman behind him. Because he's the best player in baseball. That's why you walk him. And on top of it, he's already hit a home run and 2 doubles. I mean, what else do they want? I mean,
there was a lot of grumbling today from fans that didn't like the fact that they walked Ohtani 4 or 5 times, and it came up that maybe they should make a rule you can only walk a guy intentionally once a game. I mean, that makes sense to me, actually. If you want action, but
that's
he's
true.
going to get walked. I mean, he's going to get walked the rest of the series. You would think.
Well, yeah. Didn't the Toronto manager say today in the press conference afterward that were they going to continue to do this? He said, "Yeah." Are you going to keep walking
Well,
him tonight? Yeah.
it took them a while to figure that out, but
Yeah.
and if that rule ever came into effect, which Curry, I like what you said about that, then pitchers would just pitch around him. That's why I don't understand. Pitch around him. Don't throw any, make him go fetching for a bad pitch. Don't throw anything down. They threw it right down the middle of the plate.
Well, supposedly that's what the last at bat guy did.
Yeah.
The pitcher, he threw around him, and he threw 4 of them in the dirt. I mean,
Yeah.
I guess you can do. If they're going to do that, why not just intentionally walk him?
Yeah,
That
well,
Yeah,
It's
if
the
you're
same.
going to do that. But throw him. Yeah, like you said, throw him something he might not be able to reach, or he does strike out a lot.
Lots. Well, he used to early in the season, early in the series. I don't know if he's striking out anymore.
You
Now,
know how to get him out. Just get guys in there who can. So the interesting does hit to happen come game 4. Yeah.
So, guys, go ahead, Curry. Go ahead.
I got an under the bus situation going back to the first 2 games in Toronto. The Toronto fans, the Blue Jay fans, they've got a superstar rapper, Drake.
Right.
And Drake's from Toronto, and he got to the park, and apparently they just booed him. They booed him practically out of the stadium. They don't want Drake there because they remember there's a Drake curse when he infamously bet $1 million on the Toronto Maple Leafs to win their NHL semifinals. So he bet $1 million, and the Panthers blew out the Maple Leafs. So they don't want the Drake curse, and so they booed poor Drake out. I mean, in the online comments, the guy said, "I want anybody but Drake in Rogers Center tonight. Keep him out. Get him out of here."
Speaking of performers, Kenny Chesney did the national anthem before Game 3, the last 18-inning World Series game back in 2017 or 18 or whatever.
18.
Kenny Chesney did the national anthem.
Are you serious? Oh,
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yes,
That's
keep
great.
him away from the bus. He goes under the bus.
That's great. Well, how about
how about the cheer? You're talking about Toronto fans. How about that cheer when they are winning? The "We don't need him" cheer.
Yeah. When he came up late in that blowout game 1. That was another thing I was going to comment. They started "We don't need you. We don't need you." And of course, he crushed one to Montreal right after that.
Well, if you're ahead of him by 10 runs, what the heck, right?
Ohtani's remarkable. He's just remarkable. Watching last night, especially when he hit the second home run, you just sit back and say, "This is ridiculous. This guy is,
Well, how about they had steal a base? Think about that. Here's a guy, your best player. He's pitching today now. And they're having him steal bases. I mean, that's incredible too.
I wanted to ask you guys about the rules, because one of the bases when Ohtani stole a base, hitting he's ahead of he's on the first base. Betts is up. He steals second. He makes a steal. The guy puts the tag in his crotch, and Ohtani comes off the base, and they call him out.
Right.
How is that fair? I mean, the guy's got his glove right in Ohtani's crotch. All he's doing is pushing him off. I mean, how can the guy keep his balance when that's happening to him? I don't understand that.
Don't come off the base.
Bob, is that
they ought to give them a little leniency to stand up after the steal. If they've been called safe, they probably ought to give them a little room. But
in that case, it looked to me like the shortstop glove. I mean, he had the glove right in his groin, and all he had to do, I mean, he's just pressing on it, and Ohtani's coming off the base. I don't see how that's fair.
Yeah, but in your sport, in basketball, when you put a knee into a guy's crotch when you're playing defense, should it always be a charge and not a block? Come on.
I don't. That looks so wrong last night to me. I know there are close calls at second, but that looked wrong to me.
Well, if they feel they push him off the base, and
Yeah.
because they did a replay on it, obviously, if they
Several.
felt they pushed him off the base, they would have called him safe.
Well, Rich, he didn't shove the fielder didn't shove his glove,
Right.
but his glove was in there.
Yeah.
He could have just kept pressing it, and Ohtani loses balance.
Yeah.
You know, he's getting his
Uh-huh.
nuts crushed by the guy, and he can't stay on the base. Come on.
Rich, the ump doesn't always get it right, and last night was a perfect example when there was the weird play where I forget who the base runner was. Bo Bichette might have. Yeah, I think it was Bo Bichette, and Varsho should have been ball 4. The pitch was way high.
Yes.
And so
Walked
Varsho
off
starts
first.
going toward
Oh,
first.
that was like in the first inning. That was like in the first inning.
Is that he thought it was a walk and
Right.
didn't wait to make sure and then got picked off. I thought that was pretty weak. I thought that was something that hopefully next year, with the tap of the helmet and the checking with the ABS system,
Right.
that they'll get that right.
How about Tommy Edman making that error early in the game and gave him 3 runs when Kirk came up and hit the 3-run home run? But then he
They came
recovers
back.
and starts playing defense like a crazy man. That play he made in short right when the wild throw into right field, he fielded it, got up and threw the guy out at third.
Yeah,
That was
well,
only
it was-
that game saver. That's a
That
game
was
saver.
that was crazy, that play, because he slid into the ball, but he actually slid in,
Yeah.
picked up the ball, went over Friedman's head. Remember, hit his glove
Yeah.
and went off. And to come up throwing like he did, I mean, he threw a bullet to third base, and there was no question he was out. I mean, he was out by a
crazy
step and a half.
Crazy stuff. And
then-
Guerrero had a great first base to third throw that saved an inning for the Blue Jays. It was just the stuff that went on in the game. It was phenomenal stuff.
Right, it was great. Let me ask you this: the Japanese relief pitcher that came in, he was a starter.
Or Yamamoto, Sasaki.
Sasaki.
Yeah. Now he had a splitter that just dropped off a table, unbelievable. But why is Toronto swinging those pitches? I mean, make him throw a strike. Make him throw. I mean, really, when you look at it, all those pitches were out of the strike zone.
No, I'm not sure. But Rich, they look like they're going to be strikes. But Rich, the point is, they look like they're going to be strikes to the batter. It's looked like a strike.
And that also proves how good Sasaki is, because Toronto, I think, is the least chasing team in baseball as hitters. They mind their business and they don't swing at bad.
Well, they chased last night, didn't they?
And that's how good.
Well, and how about the infamous Will Klein that comes in for the Dodgers? He was in Tacoma like a few months ago, right? He got released 3 times. His ERA in Tacoma was 7. He comes in there, he pitches 4 scoreless innings.
Yeah, and he'd never gone more than 2. In the big leagues, it was bad enough they had Yamamoto, the guy who had pitched the complete game shutout 2 days before. He
warming
was warming up to go in for the 19th. So,
Well, I love the announcers kept saying, well, the guy, Kenny Roseman from the first base dugout said the Dodgers have just told us that they're going to probably use a fielder, position player to pitch the next inning. And they didn't know who it was going to be. Well, it's obviously going to be Shohei. I mean, it's obviously going to be him. And then the Japanese translator goes over to the pitching coach and says, my boy Yamamoto says he'll pitch again. It was great. And he told him in Japanese first, and then he has to translate. It was great. And then all of a sudden you see Yamamoto warming up in the dugout as Freeman goes yard. It was great stuff. I mean, unbelievable.
But they can't make it an instant classic because nobody will sit around for 6.5 hours to watch it. They'll have to do remember the famous, when we were growing up, Lindsey Nelson? We move on to action in the third quarter.
That's right. Yeah, exactly.
Notre Dame still with the ball.
Yeah. He looked great.
Stuff. Any other baseball we want to talk about before we move on? Have we exhausted an exhausting game? I read a great story, I think it was in The Athletic, where the lead talked about a game that should never have ended, and then you wondered if it never was, if it never would.
Yeah.
It was good stuff. All right, we'll come back. We're going to talk football. We had a couple of major league manager moves, one of which was very interesting that maybe we'll save for next week. The San Francisco Giants hiring a college coach. We'll get into that, but next week. We'll come back and talk college football. Some amazing happenings over this past week. If any of the three of us want to throw our hats in the ring to coach a major college football program, this might be our chance. We'll come back and throw other people under the bus, brought to you by Hudson's on the Docks on Hilton Head Island. Welcome back to Under the Bus. Bob Stevens along with Curry Kirkpatrick and Rich Basirico. Under the Bus brought to you by Hudson's on the Docks, fabulous seafood restaurant on Hilton Head Island, South Carolina. Might have to eat inside this week. A little chilly. We're all sweatered up for the first time all fall, and a little different weather here. All right, college football, Under the Bus. Does LSU's athletic director go under the bus because he was the same guy who hired Woodward, I think is his name. Same guy who hired Jimbo Fisher at Texas A&M and gave him a $77 million buyout. And now he's gone to LSU, and they're buying out the contract of their coach
Brian Kelly.
Brian Kelly, amazingly, about $50 million worth. Wow.
maybe they should cut his salary.
Ooh.
That's a lot.
LSU does not have a president right now. They have an interim president. So the negotiating of whether on Saturday night after they got blown out by Texas A&M, the negotiating was done in the governor's mansion.
Yeah, well, they've got a governor still who gets involved in all this stuff.
And the governor's was involved.
He came out last week and criticized the raising of ticket prices, which he was right about. In the football games, but it's another week. Another big name guy gets actually thrown under the bus seriously before we can. Yeah. And Kelly, you look at Brian Kelly's record there, and it's phenomenal that he'd be fired. I mean, when they beat Clemson to start the season, LSU was number 3 in the country, number 3. And here it's a month and a half later, and he gets fired, and he loses 3 games. He's lost 3 games to 3 teams that are ranked in the top 10.
Yeah, 3rd, 7th, and 9th were the rankings.
But guys, he's kind of like Franklin. He's 5-11 against ranked teams. He doesn't have a winning record, and I think the reason he got fired was he got into a shouting match with Woodward about because he wanted Woodward wanted the offensive coordinator fired, and he said, "I'm not going to do that."
Yeah. And he wanted other guys fired.
Right.
He wanted to throw other guys under the bus. Yeah.
Right.
Kelly.
But Curry, you know who he reminds me of is Mick Cronin from UCLA.
Yep.
He loses his temper. He gets angry at his assistants. He's always badgering his assistants all the time. It's never his. He never takes ownership. It's always somebody else's fault. Offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator. He wasn't well liked at Notre Dame. They were happy to have him leave, and he's not well liked at LSU. He started off his career there when, if you guys recall, in the press conference when he was being introduced.
It was a basketball game. He was talking to the fans.
But he's also talking like a Southern accent.
Yeah,
he tried to make him sound like he's from Baton Rouge. Come on.
He was addressing the fans, and he used the word family, and he pronounced it family like a Cajun would. And all of a sudden, he lost half his fan base right there before they even had spring practice.
Right. That's right.
He was never a good fit there. He's not a Southern guy. LSU is a very strange place. I mean, 3 guys have won the national champion there. Nick Saban, Coach Orgeron, who talks like a Cajun, and the extremely weird Les Miles.
Right.
You gotta be a really character to coach at LSU and to know the culture and to fit in there. It's really difficult. Rich, you say, he's 5-11, but his results are very mixed. He got the team to the conference championship game in his first year. He got the kid to the Heisman Trophy a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And but then, as you say, he can't win the big games. And the other night, cameras caught. It was like a 16-14 game at the half.
Yeah.
And A&M got 35 straight on him, which has never happened in Death Valley.
Right.
And Woodward, the AD, that's a slap in his face, because A&M got, after they got rid of Fisher, which was Woodward's guy, they got this guy Elko, who had been Kelly's assistant at Notre Dame, then went to Duke, and then they got him from Duke. And so I think Woodward is sitting there getting humiliated, his own school by the school he was at before. And it's like a double humiliation. Plus the camera caught Kelly several times. He's screaming in his quarterback's face.
Yeah.
He's cursing the offensive coordinator over the headphones. And at one point he tried to throw his headset before he figured out he was attached to it. So he tried to cover. I mean, he had lost it during the game.
So can we say then that he actually maybe helped throw himself under the bus?
Yes,
So,
without a doubt.
Saban went 39-13. Miles went 42-11, and he got run off. Orgeron went 41-9, and he got run off.
I mean, yeah.
Kelly
has
won 9 games or more each of his last 8 years, and that wasn't good enough.
Well, it kind of was melancholy. You saw the stands were about half empty by in the middle of the fourth. Everybody was gone, and then they the tradition, they play the alma mater, the LSU alma mater. So Kelly, as he ran off the field, he got booed off the field by his own fans. Then he realized he had to go back out and do the alma mater, and then come back. He got booed off twice in his own field. It was very sad, actually, very sad.
But who are they going to get? The funny thing is, we talk about. I mean, this is 10 coaches now that have been fired already. It's not even November. There's actually 12 openings because of a couple of off-season firings in the offseason that they replaced with interims like Stanford. But who are they going to? I mean,
well, they talk about Kiffin. The first name that comes up is Kiffin's name.
Yeah.
Of course, he came out today and said, because also Florida's interested in him. He says it's not going to be based on money. Really?
Yeah,
Money's
really.
not going to be a factor. Come on.
What was the famous line, Curry? You probably wrote it. If they say it's not about the money, it's about the money.
It's about the money, yeah. Another anecdote I read about Kelly. When Kelly got the LSU job, he fired this popular strength coach, a guy named Tommy Moffitt, who's now at Texas A&M. And so all week in practice, they had Kelly's picture up on the tackling dummies at Texas A&M. And the quarterback of A&M revealed this to the press after the game. I mean, that's wow. That's Kelly. This is the same guy that as you say, he left Notre Dame to quote win the national championship at LSU, like as if. And then the next year, what's his name takes him to the national championship game. He also is the same guy that bragged the preseason of adding like 18 million to his NIL payroll, and that didn't get him anywhere. So
LSU wants to get the first call they may have made was to Notre Dame again to try to get Marcus Freeman, and he said no.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
Yeah. Why would he want to leave Notre Dame? I couldn't see that happening.
Well, and landing at Oregon
might be one of the great jobs because you've got an entire state. I think LSU, or it's either LSU or the state of Louisiana, is like 5th in the number of NFL draftees over the last 10
is that right? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's great football. Arch Manning, is a Louisiana boy.
Right. Right. Yeah.
And they didn't get him. They're probably now glad they didn't. But
Well, and probably LSU's Death Valley is probably the hardest place to play, don't you think, in college
Yeah.
Oh,
football?
have you ever been there a Saturday night
I
game?
I know I've been there on the campus, but not for a game.
It's outrageous. It's outrageous. And the governor brought back a few years ago, they stopped having the live tiger there in a cage right by when the teams run out there. But the governor last year put some note in there that he wanted the tiger back. So apparently the tiger's back. That tiger cage, you can see the tiger. It's right outside the basketball arena, the cage where they keep him outside.
Yeah, his enclosure. Yeah.
And as I recall, Bob, you may know this, but wasn't that a Paul Dietzel deal that he said, let's get this tiger, and he put him in a cage right as the opposing team came out of their locker room. They had the tiger roaring.
That's the way it should be. Let me tell a story about that. I think, the live animals that are mascots should always be at the games. I think that should be law. That should be. But
It should be law.
This happened way back in the 60s. A basketball referee that was a friend of our family's, big time Pac-10 referee back in the early 60s. He is refereeing a game at Gonzaga, and they had a bulldog at the time, and the bulldog latched onto his leg, during the game. Of course, the pictures of it go viral, if there was such a thing as viral back in the 60s. Well, he had a game the next night at Washington State, and he called Washington State that night and said, "You better keep that cougar off the court. I don't want anything to do with him." So, I think we should have the animals. The Razorbacks should be there. Washington has its husky that comes to the home. You maybe don't need to take them on the road, but
well, Ralphie the buffalo is always around, and the Longhorn, what's the
Bevo,
Texas Bevo? He's always there.
That's another story. Barry Switzer used to tell me that was the biggest fear he had in the OU Texas game, because they have to all come down the same kind of ramp like Clemson does. But at OU Texas, they both come down the ramp. He says, I was always afraid I was going to step in something Bevo left behind and flip and fall.
Well, North Carolina's mascot is a ram. It's a Tar Heels on him, but it's a ram, and he's always there. The Ramses, they call him Ramses, and he's very cute. Actually, he doesn't act up at all. So they've probably drugged him or something.
Let me tell you this. Even St. Leo University when I was there, had a lion in a cage on campus.
Really?
And you walk by every time you went to class. But one day, some kid put his hand in there. He bit the kid's hand, and that was the end of the lion. He was gone. He was gone.
To the National Zoo for him. Let's at least say hopefully it was a happy ending for the lion.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I think so.
Well, let's put Lane Kiffin at the bottom of the under the bus characters again. He beats Oklahoma, and as he's doing the TV interview afterward, he sees the Oklahoma player come up and he says, "Hey, that guy's been yelling at me all game. He's been saying we're losers, we can't score on them." And so he yelled at the kid, "You're a little quieter now, right?" Kiffin is great. I hope he gets that job. I mean, he's, and then after the game, he got into this troll-a-thon with Oklahoma coach Venables. Venables had the gall to say that Oklahoma was the better team. After he gets blown out with all this statistics. Well, that was just catnip for Kiffin, who went into history. He went into history and said, "Oh, maybe they were the better team when I was at Southern Cal and we beat them 51-19 in the national championship game." He said, "Or maybe he had the better team when I was at Alabama and he was at Clemson and we kicked their ass again in the national championship." He went back in history.
Hey, do you think any of the guys who are on the outside and have been on the outside for a couple of years now have a chance to come back? I know Jimbo Fisher has said, "I'd love to coach again." Right. Pat Fitzgerald from Northwestern would love to get back into it again. Orgeron says he'd love to get back in, although
I
nobody
think
understood him when he said it. But
Ogeron was a perfect fit for LSU. How he happened to go, I don't know what happened there. That must have been a personal deal with the AD or something. Because he speaks Cajun. He's big. He talks Cajun. He was
well, he
great
won
for
the
LSU.
national championship, but then he didn't. Once
Well,
you win
yeah.
one there, you got to keep
And-
winning.
Well, and he also had probably the greatest college team ever made. With the quarterback that's at the Bengals, and then the two receivers, and
Yep.
that was one of the great college teams of all time.
They were really good.
Yeah.
Indeed.
All these names have popped up. The Kiffins and the Drinkwitz, the Missouri coach, the Vanderbilt guy who's had a great year. Who beat LSU. They talk
Most
about
of them
him.
are alums of the schools they're at, though.
Yeah, that's true.
I think that the smart hire, the guy everybody ought to have circled, is the Tulane coach, Summerall.
That's what I was gonna mention him, John Summerall. He's an Alabama native, but the question is, would LSU deign to get a guy from lowly Tulane in their eyes to come to LSU? Who had their eyes on
in the LSU game, aren't they? The Tulane fans, aren't they the ones who do the cheer that my folks at Tulsa do when Oklahoma beats us every couple of years? That's all right. That's okay. You're all going to work for us someday. Tulane guys could say that to. Go ahead, Jerry. I'm sorry.
Summerall is the guy that our athletic director at North Carolina, Bubba Cunningham, had his eyes on to hire until the rich alumni and the idiots saw fit to go after Belichick. Summerall was the guy we were going to try and get. So he's been
He and the coach at Houston, Willie Fritz, who was at Tulane before he went to Houston and has done nothing but win everywhere he's been. And those are the kind of guys.
Willie Fritz is in his 70s though, isn't he?
Yeah,
I think
so?
another
who cares about 3 years from now? We gotta win.
Well, as long as he doesn't have a 24-year-old girlfriend, he should be all right.
That's true. Yeah. Another guy who probably wouldn't leave his alma mater is the guy at Arizona State, Kenny Dillingham. Everybody talks about him when these jobs open. It'll be really interesting to see this carousel, how it works out with these guys.
I think Kiffin would take. I mean, LSU's going to offer him the job in Florida. I think both those schools, even probably.
He's got his choice.
Oh, he's got his choice. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
And one of them could be really good.
My choice for under the bus state this week, the state of Colorado, the whole state of Colorado. Deion Sanders Buffaloes, they go to Utah and it's 43-0 at half. They're down, and Deion says he was dumbfounded. That's a quote. I'm dumbfounded. It ended up Utah got 587 yards. They beat Deion 53-7. Yeah. Now this is I had never heard this. Apparently Warren Sapp, the great former NFL great defensive, he's Deion's assistant. He has this weird pregame ritual where he goes and he kicks the pylons in the end zone. He kicks them over, and Deion goes after him and cleans him up like he's the pickup boy. And apparently this is a pregame ritual for them. It went viral. It went viral, and coaches, like high school coaches, went crazy. They said, "You're embarrassing anybody that's ever been in the coaching profession. You're embarrassing us. Why are you? It's just an ego thing." Warren Sapp kicking over pylons. Some guy wrote he kicked over more pylons than Buffalo scored touchdown.
That's right.
Well, if they think that's going to help you win games, you're in trouble, right? If you think that's going to help you win games, you're in trouble. Do you see what Deion said about it's the worst beating he ever had, except maybe from his mother?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Colorado State played one of their rivals, Wyoming, and got shut out 28-0. So So
They fired that guy.
the combined scores for the Colorado schools were Colorado schools 7, opponents 81. That's not just dumbfounding. That's founded dumb. I mean, that's just unbelievable.
That
That's
makes,
a
makes you want to root for the Broncos if you live in Colorado, huh? Let's come back and talk pro football. We got a few minutes left. We'll throw some other people under the bus as we continue right here. Brought to you by Hudson'sOnTheDocks.com. Welcome back Under the Bus. Bob Stevens along with Curry Kirkpatrick and Coach Rich Basirico. College basketball starts this coming. Yeah, Rich is lighting up already.
I'm excited. Can't wait.
Curry, what are the storylines? What are we looking at? Who are we going to be throwing under the bus this year?
Well, you never know. In college basketball, people talk about who's going to be the best and the predictions they make and all these analysts that come out. But, St. John's is supposed to be up there, with Pitino going out and getting all these new players. Of course, he's not alone in that. I mean, everybody's doing that. Everybody's rosters change. Like Curry, North Carolina, how many returning players do they have coming back on their roster?
one. The whole roster is different. The whole roster is different. They have one guy. They went out and played a scrimmage against Brigham Young the other day, who has the great freshman Debansa, who everybody wanted. He's, they paid him $80 million probably to go to Mormons paid him to go to Brigham Young. And we played him to 4 points. We played a great game against him. But we have a kid named Caleb Wilson who's a freshman who's going to be really good. I mean, he's going to be a top 5 in a lottery guy. Speaking of lottery guys, how about your boy Cooper Flagg?
Yeah,
he's already hurt and he's down now for like 2 or 3 weeks.
Oh, is he really?
Well, they took him out of the game the other day, and when he went 0 for 9 or something.
Yeah, he was 1 for 9. So I looked him up. This is what he's shooting for the year. From the 3-point line, he's 4 for 15 for 26%. And from the total, he's 14 for 49 for 28%. So here's the guy that everybody says that can't miss, going to be one of the best in the NBA. And that don't get me wrong, he still could be a very good player, but he hasn't come out of the gate like everybody thought he would. Everybody thought he would just come and he'd be just playing above the rim and just be unbelievable. But he's not shooting the rock extremely well. And the thing about it is he can't get to the rim like he did in college. Now you got these 7-footers.
He's getting beaten around too, and as I said, he's also got this injury now that's going to keep him out for a while. I don't know what happened. But they were interviewing him on TV. He was in the training room, all wrapped. His whole body was wrapped and stuff. Yeah. And so it's pretty. I don't know if it's serious, but he's going to be out for I think a couple weeks, which is not good.
Well, Dallas
getting back to Duke. So his replacement at Duke, though, is Carlos Boozer's son,
right?
Who's going for crazy in these exhibition games. You've read, he's going for double figures points and rebounds every game. So he's going to be one of the best freshmen.
Yeah. He might turn out he's going to be better than Cooper.
Are good because they'll play 1 year and they'll go to the NBA. And are we ever going to find out if they really are good?
Yeah, that's a great question, Bob. I wish they had the rule like they do in football. You got to stay 3 years. I mean, it's ridiculous 1 year and you're out. And if these college coaches in basketball have to do their transfer portal every year, it's crazy. I mean, you pull for your team and then you sit there and get all excited about what players what underclassmen you have on the team. You don't even have seniors on your team because they're gone if they're any good. So you pull for your team and then, like Curry says, Chapel Hill, we got 1 returning player. So he's got to learn all these guys, and then next year it'll be probably the same darn thing. It's ruined college basketball, ruined college sports, especially college basketball.
Well, since we're on basketball, I guess we're going to go NBA before NFL. I want to bring up opening night in Oklahoma City, where the Houston Rockets. All eyes are on or on what's his name? Kevin Durant for the Rockets. And they're playing this great game against Oklahoma City. I don't know if you saw this opening night. And at regulation, the end of regulation, Durant comes down with a rebound and calls timeout. But they didn't have any timeout. So instead of Oklahoma City having a technical, shooting 2 free throws to win the game, the referees pretended they didn't even see Durant call timeout. They did it.
Wow.
They kept replaying it. I mean, it's unbelievable. I mean, he's calling the timeout right there. Everybody in the arena can see it. And the referees, I guess because it's opening night, the referees pretended they didn't even see it. The game went double overtime. Oklahoma City won. But, this is the kind of stuff that causes the public to question professional sports. And this happened in the same week when the biggest story is this huge gambling story where, Chauncey Billups, Terry Rozier, Damon Jones are arrested in a gambling bust for their NBA games and poker and huge mafia run poker game. I mean, the details of this thing are incredible. Don't you think?
Oh, without a doubt. But don't you think that this kind of stuff has been going on we know we've had scandals in the past, but it's going on. It's just problem with Phillips and these guys, they got caught up with the mafia. That's their problem. Those guys are putting
scary. It's scary to me.
Yeah,
it's scary to me that Chauncey Billups would get into this. Let me give you a little story about my connection with him. Yeah. He won an NBA championship. He's been an NBA coach. He's one of the most distinguished coaches, the most popular players. It's unbelievable that this guy could get himself caught up in this.
Yeah.
When I was at SI, and he was a guard at Colorado, and not many people knew about him, but he started to make this reputation. I had sold a magazine on me going out there and doing a story on him. And sure enough, they let me do it. And it was one of the great road trips because it was in the winter. I got to go to Boulder. I took my wife and daughter out there with me for about a week. And we we played in the snow and we did the snow, those snow things that are on, what do they call them? That are on, where you just coast along the mountains they're like in a cart, but they're on skis. Okay. What do they call them?
I know what you mean. I can't think of it.
A bunch of guys who live in South Carolina with us.
No.
Snowmobile.
And we had never done those, and my daughter was at the age where she could do them. We stayed in this famous old hotel in Boulder, this old Western hotel. So that's and got to know Chauncey then out there doing the story on him. And so we kept up a little bit, through the years when he was in the NBA. And, because he appreciated us introducing him to the country as a college player that was, under the radar at Colorado. But so that's my relationship with him. And, if you told me, bring up 5 players to be caught up in a mafia poker ring,
he wouldn't have been one of them.
He would be the last guy. I mean, it's just, do you think it's an addiction with people like guys like this? I mean, he's got enough, he's making tons of money.
Curry, these guys we'll use Barkley and Jordan and him. They're so competitive and they no longer can play. This is an outlet for them because they gamble and they bet on something, and you win or lose. Just like when you're playing, you win or lose. They can't get away from Jordan. We've known this for a long time in gambling on the golf course and
that's why he plays golf all the time. Just bets humongous amounts of money.
Absolutely. Playing cards.
You guys watch the basketball scene very closely. How scary is it that a judge ruled this past week that college athletes, it's okay for them to bet on pro games? They shouldn't. They can't bet on their own, but they can bet on pro games. Is that just the?
I think that's going to change. I think that's going to change. That's going to be reversed or something. I think.
Once you let these college kids bet on pro games, they're going to bet on college games too. Then, right? If you give me the invitation to bet on pro games, I'm going to sit there and say, heck, why not go to college games? Why not?
Yeah.
That's stupid.
That's certainly the next
step. And Bob, I'm sure I've been on NBA charter flights with teams, just the teams, and they're betting everything from what time the doors are going to close to to card games to dice. Dice is a big deal. Just throw the dice and figure out it's unbelievable what those guys used to play. And that's to pass the time. But I'm just worried this isn't just the proverbial tip of the iceberg. I think it's going to go much deeper than this.
Gonna blow up.
Yeah.
Whatever happened to the days when we played dominoes on the lights or hearts? We used to play when I would fly with college teams. We would play hearts in the center aisle. With two guys and then the row behind them, you'd sit in the four seats and.
Were you all betting? Were you all betting?
Huh?
Were you all betting?
No, it was bragging rights.
Well, see, that's the difference.
Whatever happened to bragging rights?
Those days are over. Yeah, those days are over. Money's got to be involved with these guys. Money or drugs have to be involved.
Yeah, you're probably right. You're probably right. All right, last one's under the bus. We're running out of time.
Okay. Mine is Mel Kiper because
out of season. Out of season. That's a good one.
No football. He always talks about all these.
He's throwing him under the bus.
Go look at the list of at the beginning of the season. The 5 quarterbacks he says are going to be the top draft choices, and not one of them he's listed now as being the guy that might be be drafted high. He had these 5, and he gives you all this background of why they're going to be one of the top 5 picks, blah, blah, blah. All this information, you sit there going, wow, this guy really knows his stuff. I mean, with the angle of his arm, the length of his arm, how high he can jump, how fast he is, how big his hands are, the whole ball of wax. And now all those 5 guys he talked about, he doesn't even mention them anymore. It's like they passed away. It's ridiculous. So Mel Kiper's my guy.
There you go. How high did he have Drake May ranked? Because he might be the MVP this year in the NFL. Curry's.
He liked May, didn't he? Didn't he, Rich? He always liked Drake May.
I think he did. Yeah, I think he did. I think he liked May. Yeah.
All right. Curry.
I got a former one of those top quarterback draft choices just on one play this week in the NFL. Spencer Rattler, the quarterback for New Orleans Saints, who I cannot figure how he ever still has a job. I cannot figure it out. He made a great one this Sunday. The Saints it was early in the game. The Saints had just held on the goal line. They held the Buccaneers 4 straight plays out of the end zone.
Yep.
So Saints take over. First play, Rattler's on his 3. He tries to throw a pass into the flat, and this defender for the Bucks named Anthony Nelson comes in and he tips the ball. He catches it himself. He flattens Rattler like he was a garden snake, and he just walks into the end zone. Like if we can't get him offensively, we'll just swarm Rattler and get it like this. Oh man.
Hey, here's a piece of Curry. You mentioned Rattler and snake, garden snake. I got that. How about this to add to it? Anthony Nelson, wasn't he the name of Larry Hagman, the pilot that he played in I Dream of Jeannie? How about that?
Probably.
I don't remember what I had for dinner. I hope so, but I pulled that.
I hope so. Nelson said later he didn't even remember what happened, and Rattler's still wondering. Later in the game, they finally replaced Rattler and benched him for this guy Tyler Schuff, who, as well as having this impossible to pronounce name, this guy played 7 years in college. 7,
right?
At Oregon, Texas Tech, Louisville. I mean, he's 46 years old. No, he's not. He's 20. He's 26. He's 26
for next year. Bill Belichick.
He's 26.
Get him to come back to Carolina.
He's going to start. He's going to start this weekend.
Yeah, I know.
He's starting this weekend. Yeah.
Well, it's about time.
I don't have one to throw under the bus, but I have one to actually to kind of elevate somebody who's been under the bus. Women's golfer Yanni Sang, who was huge a decade ago. She had won 5 major championships by the time she was 22, but the last one was in 2012. She's been nowhere for 13 years. She finally won this last week in Taiwan. She had the yips. She couldn't make a putt.
Is that right?
Finally got somebody to turn her around, and she putts left-handed now.
Wow.
She wins the tournament, and her big quote afterwards was, don't ever lose track of your dreams. Keep following your dreams. She's 30-something years old now. Hasn't won in 12 years, but she hung in there. I give her credit for
Still
Gotta give her
dreaming.
credit,
That's
for
great.
sure. Yeah.
Man, hey,
That's
we
good.
want to thank Worldwide Wes Kerr for producing.
Thanks, Wes.
Tonight, and we want to thank all of you for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed it. We certainly had a great time. We'll be back next week because we got a whole bunch of people we don't even know yet that somebody's going to throw under the bus like LSU, and we'll come back and do it later. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, guys.